Today I'm going to be doing a little live stream, and it's going to be some things from the last live stream, since that live stream was blocked worldwide and a lot of people didn't get to see. I'm trying to fix this camera angle, so please bear with me while I try to figure this out so we can have a better time, a more enjoyable experience by seeing the whole screen and not just part of it. I'm going to be showing some new things and some old things. Going to start with some new stuff. Some of this is like these two, the first two videos I'm going to show are by Lori. Her channel used to be called Truthful Spirit Blue Heron, but I think she deleted her channel like a couple years ago or something. But parts of these are going to be in future videos of mine. Oh, hi, Chris. It's great to see you again. Hi, Julie. Nice to see you. I didn't think anyone would join since it's so late. Let's see here. I'm trying to look on my other device and make sure the angles are right. So just hold on, please. This other device is so old, it doesn't want to work. Oh, hi, Rings of Healing. You finally caught me at the perfect time. We haven't even started yet. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord and pass the plate. All right. I might be adjusting the camera here and there, but I think that's good enough to start. It's going to be read to us anyways. I just don't want to give anyone a headache by moving the camera around too much, but you know me. I don't think there's anything else I wanted to say. I'm going to premiere something. Oh, let me ask you guys a question. This nearly 3-hour-long documentary, I have it saving right now. It's been saving like all day. It's taking forever to save. And I've got like, I think it's 740p, so it's technically HD. I've got that saved already, and it's already unlisted on YouTube, but there are two parts in the documentary, I think it's like 2 to 4 minutes total, where it just freezes for some reason. So I'm trying to decide, like, if the one I'm saving now doesn't work, would you people prefer an HD documentary where it freezes for a few minutes within the first hour? Or would you rather a documentary where it doesn't freeze at all, but it's like 540p or 480p, something that's lower definition, but you can't tell that much, I don't think. I don't know. I'm just praying that I'm trying to save the 740 or 720 or whatever the HD version now, and I'm hoping that it doesn't freeze like that again. I don't know why it's doing that. I think it's because my SD card, my memory card is corrupted. Maybe that's why, I don't know. Anyway, sorry if I sound weird. I was going to go to bed, but I thought I would do this instead. Okay. Here's my remote.
So this is called Come In Here, an educational forum for the examination of...
Let me know if the volume's too low or too high at any point. I'm trying to keep it level, but it's kind of hard to tell.
Religious truth and religious tolerance. New America, sex with children by the Talmud rules. So we're told there's a movement afoot to make pederasty, child-adult sex, socially acceptable and legally permissible. Researching the issue, we find that many dominant voices on both sides of the controversy are Jewish. By feminist writer Judith Levine's book, Not Harmful to Minors, The Perils of Protecting Kids from Sex, has been condemned by those who say she excuses sexual abuse of children. She strongly denies this, and she says she's misunderstood after a news article last month quoted her saying a boy's sexual experience with a priest conceivably would be positive. Okay, now this is the Washington Times, a professor at University of Missouri, Kansas, published a 1999 article, "Children are the last bastion of the old sexual morality." Now, this is a really important concept because, we've moved into a society where everything and anything is acceptable except having sex with children. And that's what they're trying to chip away at here in moving towards that legally. Okay, so here's Judith Levine's book, Harmful to Minors, The Perils of Protecting Children from Sex, it's called. Okay, so here's Judith Levine. Big wide tracheal cage, big wide mouth, passable face, possibly. Here's Judith Levine again. Big ears, big square jaw. The shoulders are kind of sloping. You can see a brow ridge here. Big nose, and this one to me, that's just the wide smile. That's the wide tranny smile right there. Big ear. I think this is another fake lesbian feminist who is a man, in my opinion. And then the opposing team, the controlled opposition, is Dr. Laura. This is Dr. Laura Schlesig. And she's, ranting the other side. Conservative, the Republican. This one's the Democrat. This one's the Republican.
Now, does that not look almost exactly like that Jeffrey guy? That Jeffrey guy from TikTok that everyone keeps showing lately? Could be the same dude. I don't know. Looks just like him.
But neither side is telling the real story about what is written in the Talmud. So what is written in the Talmud, in the Mishnah, it says, when a grown-up man, and there's all these footnotes down here, so let's show you this. When a grown-up man, footnote 7, a man who was of age, has had sexual intercourse with, or who came on sexual intercourse, or who came on with a little girl, less than 3 years old. Okay, so when a man has intercourse with a little girl less than 3 years old, or when a small boy, 10, who is less than 9 years of age, small boy, 9 years, has intercourse, really, with a grown-up woman or man. They don't say that here, but they say it later. Or when a girl was accidentally injured by a piece of wood, number 11, one who was injured by wood, as a result of which she injured the hymen. Okay, so here they're really saying that, a piece of wood is the male phallus. Come on, a piece of wood. In all these cases, their kethuba is 200 zuz. Okay, so the penalty for all of that is $750. And that is tract 11a in the Babylonian Talmud. So let's go down here now. When a grown-up man has had sexual intercourse with a little girl, or when a small boy has intercourse with a grown-up woman, it is obvious that sex activity between a grown man and a little girl, and between a grown woman and a little boy, is part of the woof and warp of everyday Talmud life. Such relationships, in the eyes of sages, are unremarkable. There is no prohibition on sexual activity between adults and young children. It is simply regulated. Here's their rationale. The commentary, Rabbi Dr. Deshes explains in the footnotes that just as tears come to the eye again and again, so does virginity come back to the little girl under 3 years. If they had sexual intercourse before they were 3 years and 1 day old, the hymen would grow again, and they would be virgins. They're saying the hymen of a child, the virginity of a child will grow back again. Now, let's move down to the boys. So the Talmud law works on the reverse scale. Sex with younger children is less significant than sex with older children. How did this doctrine come about? From scripture that says, "Thou shalt not lie with mankind as with womankind. It is an abomination," Leviticus 18:22. So the Old Testament prohibits a man lying with a man, but notice the Old Testament does not prohibit a man lying with a boy. Thus, the Talmud sages arrive at their position on pederasty. In the following, bestiality said to be committed naturally when a man uses the vaginal passage of the beast, and unnaturally when a man uses the anal passage of the beast. So he can rape a dog or a horse, but he can't commit sodomy with a beast. The sages make the similar distinction for the couplings of a woman with a beast. So it says here, pederasty with a child below 9 years of age is not deemed as pederasty with a child above that. Pederasty with a child below 3 years is not treated as with a child above that. So the translator, Rabbi Friedman, amplifies the text with footnotes. But if one committed sodomy with a child of lesser age, no guilt is incurred. You're only guilty if you rape a baby girl over 3 years old, and you're only guilty if you rape a boy who's over 9. Okay. Rab makes 9 years the minimum, but if one committed sodomy with.
So by this religion, it's a good thing to be a pedophile. And if you're not a pedophile, then it's a bad thing. It's just sick. And like, imagine being a girl who's like a 3 or 4-year-old bride. You know, like, your husband is kind of like your dad because wouldn't he have to raise you, or is he going to have someone else raise you? And how messed up must your mind be after that? I mean, it blows my mind in so many directions. It's so sick. I can hardly believe it's real.
Only guilty if you rape a boy who's over 9. Okay. Rab makes 9 years the minimum, but if one committed sodomy with a child of lesser age, no guilt is incurred. Samuel makes 3 the minimum. At 9 years, a male attains sexual matureness. Thus, the point of comparison is the sexual matureness of a woman, which is reached at the age of 3. So they really like their baby girls and boys until they're 9. You know, it goes beyond that. It goes way beyond that. So this clears matter up. Consenting adults who engage in homosexuality suffer the death penalty. But homosexuality with a male child under the age of 9 years of today is not punishable. No guilt is incurred if the child is less than 9 years old. Female homosexuality is permitted. This is disgusting, and it's even hard for me to read, and I'll leave the link so that you can read it yourself, because it's really sick. Common here, a maiden aged 3 years and a day may be acquired in marriage by coition, and if her deceased husband's brother cohabits with her, she becomes his. So this is basically just exactly like the Muslims who are out with it, but the Jews hide it. They hide the Talmud. This is hidden, just like the Jesuits, who are also part of the Jews. The Jesuits and the Jews are the same people. They hide everything in the Vatican. They hide their histories. So here's the kicker. In the Talmud, if a wife is a screamer, that is, her voice can be heard by the neighbors. She can be divorced without her ketubah, her dollar value. So, but then it's explained, however, in the current context of the child bride, the matter becomes another issue. It is surely possible that a 3 or 4-year-old wife screams in pain when required to perform her marital duties. On further reading, the Gemara explains that if the wife screams during intercourse, it may be a sign of physical defect. And on reading further, it says in the footnotes, he tells us that these were not screams of pleasure. Duh, they were screams of pain. And in the footnotes, makes her voice heard, her screams of pain caused by the copulation, since her screaming is due to a bodily defect. And what do? They basically give her 4 days to heal, rest for the intercourse wound. If a young girl whose age of menstruation has not yet arrived, married, Beth Shammai ruled, she is allowed 4 nights, and the Beth Hillel ruled until the wound is healed. Is that the most disgusting thing you've ever heard? Again, there's no prohibition of a sexual practice that would almost certainly cause physical damage to a young girl due to the mismatched size of genitals between an adult's penis and a child's vagina or anus. I'm so disgusted I can't even talk. So there you have it. And more. You have to read this. This will make you puke. Really. It's legal to rape children in the Talmud, and they want to have it happen in society. So read this and weep. Read it and weep. Talmud. Raping children is legal in the Talmud rules. Thanks for watching.
And it makes me wonder how many people are following this so-called religion, and how many people you see walking down the street it looks like a dad and his daughter hand in hand, but it's really his little 5-year-old wife, and you have no clue. Like, there must be this underground world we know nothing about or very little about, where there's probably like millions of creeps living this out in America, and we don't even know about it. You know? The next time I see what looks like a single dad and a daughter, I'm going to start thinking twice, wondering, hey, is she okay? Just sick, man. Alright, there's another one here. This is on Odyssey, the Musings channel. It's Lori's channel on Odyssey. She hasn't posted in a couple of months. Or was it? Yeah, the Gnostics one. This is another one that's going to be a part in a future video that's already uploaded, but I think I'm striked on that channel, and that's why I haven't uploaded it, or I don't know. It's hard to keep track at this point. This website hardly works on my console for some reason. Sorry, just give me a minute. My technology's been really weird today. Come on, you can do it. I believe in you.
Yes, hello everyone.
Oh,
This
there
is
we go.
Lori. Thanks for tuning in.
It happened right when I pushed something, so I think I might have messed it up. It's so slow lately, jeez. It should be a sharper image here in a minute.
Gnostics, the dirty truth about the Gnostics. And of course, here we have, the pyramid as the head and the skull, which is of course upside down. And there's a V in the middle of this. So I started looking up the meaning of V for Gnostics, what it means in reference to them. And it is basically the dualistic sign. So the V stands for a female anatomy part. And then if you put it right side up, it's a male anatomy part, and it's the dualistic nature. It's also the corner of each.
Is it buffering?
Part, and it's the dualistic nature. It's also the corner of each of the triangle, which is the tetragrammaton. And I can't go into all of the background of Gnosticism in this video, of course, because it's just too much. But if you want to know about it in depth, there's this channel, Let's Talk About Religion. This and this. Let's Talk About Religion. The first one, Religion for Breakfast, is this one.
I don't know why it's messing up. The other one wasn't.
And this. Let's talk.
I'm gonna give it a second to buffer. Sorry. I don't know why this website doesn't want to work. I heard that being with a little child is not considered sex according to Catholic rules for priests, and that's why they target children. I think I heard that before too. I don't know where that came from. I'd love to see proof of that. I'm sure it's written somewhere. Maybe one of the popes made it or something. It's just so sick. It makes no sense. And you think if you're a priest, you're going to know the Bible and you're going to know that it's okay to be married. You can still be a man of God and marry. The whole point of marriage is to glorify God. So, I don't know. People don't make any sense. Let's see if it'll work now.
About it in depth. There's this channel, Let's Talk About Religion. This and this. Let's Talk About Religion. The first one, Religion for Breakfast, is this one. I quite like both of these young men, and they work together. They're natural teachers. They're scholars. They're not assigned to any particular belief, though, except perhaps to non-belief or staying neutral on all beliefs. But they do have
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. Let me try to maybe refresh this. Maybe that'll help. You know what? I downloaded these videos and then I tried. Stop it, Satine. I downloaded these videos and I tried to upload them so it'd be easier to play on YouTube. But my phone was giving me so much trouble I just couldn't do it. Oh, technology. If this video doesn't work, then I'll just play the next thing, I guess, and maybe do this another time. do this particular video another time if it keeps messing up on me. I'm sorry if you hear Satine whining. She just does that. That's just who she is. She's a
Yes,
drama
hello
queen.
everyone. This is Lori. Thanks for tuning in. The Gnostics, the dirty truth about the Gnostics, and staying neutral on all. Part, and it's the dualistic nature. It's also each of the triangle, which is the
Trying to go here and it doesn't want to go where I want it to go. Okay, let's try it again. Sorry.
sign to any particular belief, though, except perhaps to non-belief, or staying neutral on all beliefs. But they do have, they're very good for researching the background of these ideas. Actually, my topic
Okay, well, forget it. I'm going to play the next thing then. Technology has always hated my guts. I don't know why. Oh yeah, look, it's us. Hey. I was gonna say something and I totally forgot what I was gonna say.
Approaching the mainstream.
This guy's channel, I love his channel. It's not too hard to find. You type in Untold Stories. You type his channel in Untold Stories and then you sort by channel so that you can find it. Let me show you what his channel looks like. That's his logo, Untold Stories. Please subscribe to him. He's a wonderful brother of Christ. And he shows you stuff that the news doesn't cover. It's really good. I love this guy. Anyway.
The Scottish police has begun using the term minor attracted person instead of pedophile. Now, minor attracted person is a term that academics in the United States have been pushing institutions to adopt in an effort to make it seem as if pedophiles are simply people with just another sexual orientation. In other words, they're born this way, poor them, we need to help them, we shouldn't be hostile to them. That's the argument. And that's why the term minor attracted person is being thrown out, or rather brought in, and the attempt to throw out the word pedophile is in full swing. However, this is the first time that I am aware of that any police force, any police law enforcement agency anywhere in the world has decided to use the words minor attracted person instead of pedophile in an official report. But that's exactly what has happened here in Scotland. So the article, and the man in the picture is the chief constable of the Scottish police. His name is Ian Livingston. The article that is on your screen basically states that the report is an annual year report that refers to child abusers, reports on child abuse and things like that. But this is the time, or this time rather, the report mentioned minor attracted persons instead of pedophile. Now, the Scottish police, a spokesman for the Scottish police, said that the term is not routinely used to describe child abusers, and that the reason why the words minor attracted person were included wasn't because the Scottish police wanted to include those words. Now, this part is very, very interesting. The spokesman explained that the reference to minor attracted person was in relation to the Scottish police's engagement with a European Union project called Horizon European Project Prevention of Child Sexual Exploitation. In other words, the reason why the Scottish police use the words minor attracted person, if you are to believe the spokesman, is to fall in line with the terminology that the EU Horizon Project is demanding that these, I guess, partner law enforcement agencies use, right? So in the report, the article quotes the report in the specific portion where this phrase is used. And the report states, and I'm going to quote here, the project's main agenda, this European project, this EU project, the project's main agenda is to develop understanding and to approach to avoid the victimization of children by engaging minor attracted people, MAPs, or MAPs, and providing them with necessary support, treatment, and guidance to help prevent criminal activities. So basically, the report is falling in line with these sort of academic nutcases who say these poor pedophiles, which we shouldn't even call pedophiles anymore, they can't help themselves. We need to feel sorry for them and help them. That's the mantra, right? And don't doubt for a moment that that's going to be the first step, and the next step will definitely be pushes to lower the age of consent. And eventually, and this is going to sound crazy, but think about all the crazy things that have happened just in the last 3 years. It's not that crazy anymore. Eventually, there's going to be a push to normalize pedophiles and to make it seem as if a child is capable of consenting to relations with those kind of creeps. If this kind of stuff keeps going, that's going to be the natural endpoint of this movement. There's no doubt about it. So going back to the article, the police spokesman, the Scottish police spokesman, stated, and I'm going to quote him, the Scotland Police does not use the term minor attracted person. The reference in the Chief Constable's Assessment of Policing Performance 2021-22 was in the context of Police Scotland's engagement with the Horizon Project EU consortium to tackle child sexual abuse and exploitation. Continuing, the term was used in the commissioning documents for the consortium and is more commonly used on the continent. In September, Police Scotland representatives successfully lobbied for the MAP term not to be used by the consortium. Okay, well, basically what the spokesman is saying, we don't use this word on our independent projects. We're only using this word because this is a report that's linked to the EU, and the EU likes to use this terminology.
Yeah, because they're all a bunch of pedophiles.
MAP, minor attracted person, instead of the word pedophile. Right? Now that's huge. That's huge because we're talking about the largest political entity, international political entity, second only to the United Nations. the European Union, right? The European Union, according to the Scottish police spokesman, is embracing the terminology minor attracted person instead of pedophile. Now think about that for a second. We're talking about the second largest political and economic entity in the world, the European Union. It's just incredible. And by the way, if somebody over in the United Kingdom can explain to me why Scotland is still messing around with the EU, that would be helpful, because last time I checked, there was a Brexit, and Scotland is part of the United Kingdom. So I don't know if somebody could square that to me. That would be very helpful. A comment to that extent would be very, very useful and very appreciated. But bottom line is that this is approaching the mainstream now. This isn't some fringe thing in a university. This isn't some nutcase in blue or pink hair writing a blog post, or even a newspaper saying some ludicrous things about how we should be nice to pedophiles. No. This is the EU dropping the word pedophile for minor attracted person, because presumably the word pedophile is too mean to describe these people, right? And the Scottish police formally including that word in a law enforcement report. I mean, this is huge. This is huge stuff. I'm going to do some research, in a future video on this Horizon project of the EU that's being talked about, to figure out exactly what's going on when it comes to this, and that'll be in a future video. But I know this video was lengthier than normal. If you prevailed through it, greatly appreciate it, and thank you very much. You guys have a happy new year. An incredible.
Now this video, I remember back when he uploaded it, and it's so funny. He posted this and then something else, and I thought his other video was going to get deleted, so I remember downloading it, and then this is the one that got deleted. So go figure. But it's funny, when he re-uploaded it and he called out NaziTube, and he's like, "You guys are a bunch of pedo sympathizers, and I'm gonna what did he say? He said he was gonna contact the local news." He's like, "If you delete the video again, I'm contacting the news." And guess what? The video has been up ever since. It's awesome.
Story developing now. The Attorney General for the United States Virgin Islands, the woman on your screen, Miss Denise George, she filed a lawsuit against J.P. Morgan Chase, alleging that the bank was providing services to Jeffrey Epstein, and the bank, the J.P. Morgan, knew that the primary purpose and the primary use of the funds in the account at J.P. Morgan was to facilitate the sex trafficking operation of Jeffrey Epstein up until 2013. She made this lawsuit on Christmas week, and yesterday, on January 1st, on New Year's Day, she was fired by the man on your screen, Governor Albert Bryan Jr. And no explanation was given for her termination. The governor made the statement, "I thank her for her service to the people of the territory during the past 4 years as Attorney General, and wish her the best in her future endeavors." A spokesman for the governor told the Daily Mail that press reports citing the J.P. Morgan lawsuit as the reason for George's dismissal were not, quote, entirely accurate. So that means they were partially accurate. Part of the reason why she was fired is because she went after one of the biggest banks in the world for helping finance one of the biggest sex traffickers in the world. I mean, this is a national scandal. This should be a national scandal. This woman, Denise George, she is the public official in the United States who has done the most by far since Jeffrey Epstein's death to go after Jeffrey Epstein. She filed a sex trafficking civil lawsuit against him, and that civil lawsuit settled with his estate for $105 million in November of 2022. And 1 month later, she decided to go after JP Morgan Chase for allegedly helping facilitate the operations of the bank. And for that reason, presumably, she gets fired the next day. I mean, it is just incredible. And the man on your screen, his name is Jamie Dimon. He is the head, the CEO of JP Morgan Chase. He should be questioned about that in the United States Congress more intensively. In the lawsuit alleged, quote, that human trafficking was the principal business of the accounts Epstein maintained at JP Morgan. The lawsuit went on to accuse JP Morgan Chase of, quote, concealing wire and cash transactions that raised suspicion of a criminal enterprise whose currency was the sexual servitude of young girls. The Attorney General, the lady who was fired, mentioned that this lawsuit was part of an ongoing effort to bring accountability to those who helped facilitate Epstein's actions. Well, apparently that's a no-no. You cannot go after the people who were helping Jeffrey Epstein. You cannot go after the contacts that Jeffrey Epstein had, because if you do, you'll get fired. That's the message, at the very least, that is being sent out with this latest development. Like I said, this should be a national scandal. And curiously enough, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but it's kind of strange, and it's kind of hard to just brush it off as a coincidence. But 2 days before she gets fired, President Joe Biden landed on the Virgin Islands to have a warm New Year's Eve and presumably New Year's Day. And on New Year's Day, think about how amazing this is. They didn't even wait for the holiday to end. They fired her on New Year's Day. They didn't even wait for the Monday. I mean, that is just incredible. Somebody in the United States Congress needs to raise hell over this. But unfortunately, that's probably not going to happen unless enough people put enough pressure on these mostly useless Congress people. Call your congressman, call your senator, tell them to look into it, tell them you're upset, demand answers from them. Because otherwise, this is going to go on as if it never happened. Because nobody in the federal government is doing anything about Epstein. He died and that was it. No further investigation. And this woman was the one public official in the United States, in the Virgin Island of all places, who has done more to go after Epstein than anybody else in the federal government. It's just incredible and shameful. So I hope you find value in this report. I definitely don't think you'll see this story mentioned very much in most of the major media outlets, and that's sort of the purpose of this channel. Untold stories, that's what it's about. But more than anything, I do hope that you will call your congressperson, put some pressure on them, and let me know your thoughts in the comments. I very much enjoy reading what you all have to say. And again,
And he did a video, I think kind of recently, about how, let's see, how Epstein allegedly blackmailed Bill Gates, or Jill Gates, who's quite clearly a female. But, you know, I take it all with a pinch of salt, because, I mean, it's so easy for them to make up anything. It's so easy for them to make life into one big soap opera, you know, and just to distract us and keep us hooked on the wrong stuff, you know. So I always keep that in mind. But it's nice to, I don't know why I feel like I need a cough. Sorry. It's nice to listen to these things and keep them in mind, just in case it gets censored later. If this video does get removed and this guy gets a strike, then I'll be like, oh, maybe there is something to it, or maybe it'll be relevant later. So I try to keep an ear out without being like, oh yeah, that's the truth. That's the gospel truth right there. You know what I mean?
ladies and gentlemen, we have confirmation of the obvious. Jeffrey Epstein was blackmailing Bill Gates.
Let me know if it's too loud or too quiet.
At least once. According to a report by the Wall Street Journal, Bill Gates had an affair with a 20-something-year-old Russian bridge player. And this was around 2010. So he was cheating on his wife, in other words.
Husband.
3 years later, Jeffrey Epstein meets this exact same woman in 2013. Epstein befriends this Russian woman and pays for her to attend coding school. It's a very strange story. And from that relationship, he finds out about the affair between Bill Gates and herself. Epstein, around sometime after 2013, is working with JP Morgan Chase connections to start a charitable foundation, which is really billionaire code word for money laundering front, and try to get Bill Gates to fund or invest in this charitable project. Bill Gates apparently said no, and in 2017, Epstein sends an email to Jeffrey Epstein asking him to reimburse reimbursed him for the tuition of his mistress's coding school that Epstein paid for. With the implication, of course, that he was aware of Bill Gates' infidelity and was prepared to expose it. People close to the matter told this to the Wall Street Journal. The Russian woman admits to knowing Jeffrey Epstein, to dealing with Jeffrey Epstein, but she says that she didn't know who he was at the time. He wasn't aware of his conviction for child sex trafficking. And this woman's told the Wall Street Journal, I just thought he was a successful businessman and wanted to help me. I'm disgusted with Epstein and what he did. Bill Gates' people do not deny this. A spokeswoman for Bill Gates said the following: Mr. Gates met with Epstein solely for philanthropic purposes. Having failed repeatedly to draw Mr. Gates beyond these matters, Epstein tried unsuccessfully to leverage a past relationship to threaten Mr. Gates. End quote. According to emails that the Wall Street Journal seems to have obtained, emails from Jeffrey Epstein, Epstein told connections with J.P. Morgan Chase that he had a close personal relationship with Bill Gates. The Epstein people deny this part of the story. Bill Gates was questioned about this in an interview about his dealings with Bill Gates. Probably, 8 months ago or so. And this was his response when he was asked if he had any lessons to learn from his, let's say, acquaintance with Epstein.
It was reported at that time that you had a number of meetings with Jeffrey Epstein, who, when you met him 10 years ago, he was convicted of soliciting prostitution from minors. What did you know about him when you were meeting with him, as you've said yourself, in the hopes of raising money?
I had dinners with him. I regret doing that. He had relationships with people he said, would give to global health, which is a interest I have. Not nearly enough philanthropy goes in that direction. Those meetings were a mistake. They didn't result in what he purported, and I cut them off. That goes back a long time ago now. So there's nothing new on that.
It was reported that you continued to meet with him over several years, and that, in other words, a number of meetings. What did you do?
I love his channel, but I don't know how he screen records his stuff. It sounds so weird.
When you found out about his background?
Well, and I've said I regretted having those dinners, and there's absolutely nothing new on that.
Is there a lesson for you or anyone else looking at this?
Well, he's dead, so in general, you always have to be careful. And I'm very proud of what we've done in philanthropy. Very proud of the work of the foundation. That's what I get up every day.
What was the lesson to be learned? Well, according to Bill Gates, the lesson is he's dead, so you have to be careful. This is why nobody believes that Jeffrey Epstein hanged himself. He had too much dirt on too many powerful people. And the only thing standing in the way between his death and very powerful people who wanted him dead was some cameras and a couple of low-paid prison guards. You tell me who was going to win. And you can tell he wasn't prepared for that question. You can tell how nervous he gets. He doesn't have any good explanation for his meetings with him. You can tell that he knows that, and he doesn't understand why on earth he's being questioned about it. But for everybody who's been paying attention, this is old news. Everybody with half a brain realized that Epstein was using his ability to blackmail powerful and wealthy men for his own personal enrichment. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the playlist. This is the last one of his, and then I want to play after this a video that Mr. Chris 2101, I think is his channel, Mr. Chris 2101, and it's CRIS. There's no H. He posted a video that I think got one of his channels removed, and somehow he was able to post it on a different channel, I think, because he's got multiple channels. He's got so many. But I watched his on like BitChute or something right before he posted it on NaziTube successfully about this guy who puts up these 5G towers, and he's probably controlled opposition, but it's still very interesting, and it really got my wheels turning and my juices flowing. So I'll play that after.
Okay, just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier in America's public schools, a California school board president who's a top Democrat over in California, friends with Kamala Harris, the vice president, had to resign because he invited students to a gay Christmas party, adult-themed Christmas party, where they were served alcohol and they got to hang out with half-naked men in elf and Santa costumes. This is the photo of the individual that we're talking about, who's right next to Kamala Harris. Stephen Lanusa is the president of the Claremont Unified School District. And just to give you an idea of what was going on over there, these are the images captured on Facebook of the type of Christmas party that we're talking about. He invited students to attend a party where male strippers were present, as you can see by the photographs of the report. And that's the school board. So he resigned because obviously it's not only insane, but just outrageous to do something like that. And he actually invited the children over there after their choir practice or so. And one parent described what her children told her. The parent's named Sabrina Ho. And she told the school board, that, and I'm quoting her, upon the student's arrival, Mr. Lanusa invited the high school choir group into his private adult party in his home. They were encouraged to take part in food and festivities. The students didn't begin their scheduled performance until over an hour later and were offered alcohol by party guests among inappropriately dressed entertainers. So that's what this guy had the nerve to do. And if you really start looking at people like this, people who are, promoting anything other than straight relationships, or people who would identify as straight, anybody who's pushing for gay and other gay-related rights or lesbianism or whatever it is, they are obsessed with targeting children when it comes to this type of thing. They are obsessed with promoting or exposing children to not just topics relating to homosexuality and bisexualism and transgenderism, but they want to have them have experiences with these people, which is why there's things like Drag Queen Story Hour, which is why this guy had the nerve to invite children to a adult themed gay Christmas sex party. Well, it wasn't, let me back up. It was not a sex party, but it was a party where half naked men were there to entertain gay people. So you can see that it doesn't take somebody with advanced intellect to understand that that's very inappropriate. But these people are obsessed, like I said, with exposing children to this kind of stuff. And you really got to watch out, because they're doing this behind parents' backs, and they don't care. They just want your children to be indoctrinated and exposed to these, not just topics, but they want your children to have experiences with people who are gay, transgender, bisexual, whatever it is. They want them to be exposed to these people in a sexual way as children, and that's one of the many problems that's going on with these people. But anyway, thank you for watching. I appreciate all the likes. I appreciate the viewership. I know I've reached 100 subscribers so far, and I just want to say thank you very much. The point of these videos is just to make people aware of the kind of crap that children are being exposed to, and the kinds of things that appear or happening in the world that are not in the headlines, but that pose a real threat to everything that is wholesome, good, and everything that is cherished by the Bible and by really all decent people out there. Thank you.
You know what? Podesta probably just put a mask on and he's playing somebody else or something. And, there's this video I have. I think it's still on my phone. I have it screen recorded. So I can't play it for you now, I don't think. But NaziTube really does not want anyone to know this for some reason. I don't think it's that big of a deal. But every time someone uploads it, it gets deleted. That Jimmy Comet is actually a Rothschild. So there's that. Anyway, I'm going to play this.
Go ahead, hit me up.
All right. So basically, I've been installing, just a little quick background. I've been installing 5G towers and tower modifications doing microwave installations for over 16, 17 years. And it never crossed my mind that, we literally have to do a line of sight and this is a point-to-point connection from tower to tower. It never crossed my mind after I saw the movies, the level movies, like I started questioning everything.
Now, they're not just talking about flat Earth. It gets much deeper. So just hang tight and wait for it. It gets really good.
And it just
Or
hit me.
interesting.
When you're setting up two towers that communicate with each other, there's a hill in between them. They don't work.
It shouldn't work because you have too much loss. And whenever you finish doing these installs, when I go do a fix, you have to do dB decibel measurement, and you need to leave it at least at -30 of dB. If you don't do that, either AT&T or none of these carriers will approve, and they will not even pay you. So you have to do a straight path. So if it's basically like if you are putting two flashlights and the signal's gotta be in a straight line. This is a directional antenna, and we're talking about gigabytes of data, and if you have too much error, there's no way it's not gonna work, and they're not even gonna approve you.
So hold on a second. We're talking about like dish television?
You can use microwave for television, data, and they use microwave for everything.
So
But what catch my attention is in 2014, I was with a buddy of mine, and he talked to me about flat Earth on that moment, and I just disregarded it. But then he started talking about laser microwaves, which is literally it's more powerful. They use a laser beam, and they started with a beam that was from New York to Chicago. They called it Whitney Apple. I started doing some digging on where was that project going. It stopped for some reason. I don't know why. I tried to contact the person, but a few weeks ago, I don't know if you're familiar with the Sean Ryan show. It's Sean Ryan.
No.
So basically, Sean Ryan brought this whistleblower from Antarctica. This guy was a firefighter. He was the lead firefighter in Antarctica, so he had all access to the entire Raytheon facility in the Antarctica. So he started blowing the whistle, and in one part of the interview, he mentions laser microwaves, and this is a technology that they've been using for years. It's been used to create very long microwave paths, and yeah, that confirmed that these guys have been using this for a while. And I went to a website on the FCC, and then I downloaded all the links from our broadcast in all the United States, including Puerto Rico. And there is links that go, it could be from 30 miles to 60, 62 miles. And then I found another company that's been doing links that this is literally a point-to-point link from, I believe it was from Denver, Colorado. It crossed across Denver. I can send you the video. It's 152 miles long, the link, and they transmitted data. They transmitted a phone call. I mean, it's no loss whatsoever. So how do you? And it goes over Denver. They're telling me that they go over Denver. How are you going all over the freaking curvature and all the buildings?
hold on, let me be the devil's advocate for a second. So you got a microwave, you got Denver, and you got another microwave. Denver is so if the other microwaves are lower, it won't work on a flat Earth because Denver's in the way. Are those microwave towers higher than Denver? How do they make connection with Denver in the middle?
They're in a mountain. They're in a mountain, but still, even if they're in a mountain, the curvature, you should not be able to see it because they're straight, and you never see these antennas pointing one down.
No, I got you. But if Denver is in the middle, I'm fighting the globe argument.
Yeah, I see.
If Denver is in the middle on a flat Earth, and you have two towers down here, down here, and Denver in my head is Denver, how could they communicate with each other even on a flat Earth? Because Denver's in the way. Bam, right? Unless you had one tower up here and one tower out here. Now on a globe Earth at that distance, there should be another hump. But this one's up high enough to have that direct line of sight. So my question is, are you sure that Denver was in the middle of this transmission, or was Denver?
According to the video, yes. And they say that Denver, they're selling it as we like challenges. So in top of that, we are crossing in top of Denver, which is a city that have a lot of what do you call it? It's a lot of interference because there's a lot of cellular communication plus all the everything will overlap. That's not the only link that I found. Then if I go to the FCC map, which have all the links, because if that needs to be registered, you can find all kinds of freaking links that don't even make sense. And then you can go to each link and they will tell you where in the tower it is. So for example, if it's 60 feet above the tower, and then they will both match on the document. So because it needs to be a straight path. So I don't think that would work on a globe Earth at all. And man, I've been high over there, and then I never accounted it. I never let it. Everything's gotta be straight.
Let me ask you a stupid question. We're in Kansas and we're putting up two towers far apart. There's no hill in between, and the towers are 200 feet tall, let's say, and you're putting one of the microwaves is at 100 feet on that tower. Let's just say that's where they mounted it. Does the other one have to be at 100 feet, or could it be at 200 feet?
It could be at 200 feet.
As long as it's
But
line
when
of
you
sight. As long as it's
Yeah,
line.
but when you go to the document, they are both literally every link. They are both in the same freaking. They are both in the same height. Even because it gives you the sea level, it gives you where in the tower it is, and
So-
obviously where it is located.
Are they making transmitters and receivers the same height off of sea level, or what is more important? The line of sight is important, but are they also making them the same height and not care? Like, you have a tower at 100 feet above sea level, flat land in between, and then you have another tower, and you can put it anywhere on that tower, and that tower is up to 200 feet tall. Do they have to put it at 100? Do they put it at 100, or could they put it at 200? It makes no difference.
You can put it at 200, but then you have to tilt it. It doesn't make sense. So if you look at all these antennas, they're all straight. They are never like the tilting is so little, you will never notice it. So
But
if that was the case,
I'm going to argue again. At 100 miles, the tilt to make the angle down 100 feet is imperceptible. Imperceptible, right? If I tilt it like that, at 100 miles, it might drop a friggin' mile at a little tilt. So it's interesting, it's interesting that you want them that they shoot straight out, but the tiniest little tilt, that microwave spreads out a little bit too, right? It doesn't go like
it spreads a little bit.
it spreads. So a tiny there is some variance for the angle. The reason I'm asking is it's kind of like a sidetrack, because you mentioned that they're at the same height according to the documents. Doesn't matter. At 100 miles, 100 feet, that's nothing. I mean, I don't even know if you can measure that.
I mean, the most important thing is line of sight always.
Yes.
That's law for these microwave links. And if you don't have a perfect line of sight, you will have way too many errors because it's too much loss. And then these companies, they won't even pay you.
I got it. So you work for a microwave installer that puts up these towers, and then you sell them. You lease out time or whatever to AT&T, or
No, I'm a subcontractor. I work for the carriers directly. So I go to a vendor, and then let's say T-Mobile will have 50 microwave links or 50 sites that lately I haven't been doing microwave links because the hottest shit is 5G. So I've been doing 5G, but I go directly to the vendor, and then I do all the survey, all the install, and all the work by myself. I do all the construction with my crew.
can I ask you a question about the 5G?
What was that?
The 5G to transmit phone calls. How many watts of power do they need to work?
What do you mean watts?
I mean, how much watts? I mean, isn't it measured by watts? Yeah, they have to be 50 watts or 500 watts or.
We use for the antenna for the radio to be on. We use DC power, and it's net 48, and we use a booster, and it's gonna be we boost it to net 56 basically. But that's it. I mean, they can tweak it in their software on how much they wanna how much they wanna propagate it, or how much power they wanna actually.
Now,
use the radio.
the real question is the power that's coming to the antenna. Do they oversize the power, the amount of power going? Let's say
Here it is now. Here it is.
question is the power that's coming to the antenna. Do they oversize the power, the amount of power going? Like, let's say it only needs 50 watts, 500 watts, or whatever, however you're measuring it. I heard reports that they're bringing cables that can offer 50,000 watts.
Yeah.
So why would they do that? Why would they, if it only needs this much power, why would you bring this much power to it, right? Why would you bring?
That's a question that I've been asking myself too, because they have, like, for example, T-Mobile have a bunch of frequencies, and they're all these blocks of frequencies that are not even necessary. And I don't know why they keep adding and adding and adding, and then it just overblow the power for no reason. Especially in cities. I mean, they want to go through the buildings, but I mean, I think it's too much. In that sense,
I mean, when you're you climb the towers?
Yeah.
Okay, so you're up on these towers with these things on? Are there microwaves on there?
Yeah, we have ways how to go around it, and then if I'm gonna work in front of a sector, I have but because it's divided by sectors, it's alpha, beta, and gamma.
Yeah.
If I want to work in alpha, I just go ahead and lock the sector, so all the radios get locked and they stop transmitting. That I'm gonna tell you, that doesn't happen very often, you know.
So I was in the solar power business, and we would do commercial installs on top of buildings. And our guys started to refusing to work on buildings that had 5G towers on them. Excuse me. Because they said that their fillings were buzzing. They had metal fillings in their mouth, which they shouldn't have. And they were like hearing crap in their heads. Like their ears were vibrating. And they actually said they will not work in these areas. And then the last time I was up on a commercial roof that had buildings, they had literally a red line. And they said, do not cross this line, fry zone. Fry, they called it the fry zone.
Yeah, now they have these antennas that they're called MIMOs, which are the multiple input, multiple output, which is an antenna integrated with a radio. And that shit is powerful, man. It's just.
Aren't you concerned that you're so close to these things?
I am, but I mean, I gotta eat too.
I get it. Well. The reason I was asking about the amount of power going to them is because 5G towers, I believe, are the same frequency that they use for the active denial system that the military uses. You know, the sonic weapons they use to microwave people.
You have to, okay, if you're interested into that episode that I told you about Sean Ryan, the Antarctica whistleblower, he talks about everything. Okay, Ray Dion is been doing this for years.
Right.
And he talks about laser microwave. He's talking about directional energy weapons, and he's telling me like this is real. You get this.
So let me ask you a question: are all these microwaves that are going up all over the place? They're using them for 5G, for communications, whatever. Could they boost up the power and turn them into a weapon system?
Absolutely. Yeah, they can.
So the reason
what are you made of? We are water, and we are everything is
I know, but the fact that they have like 100 times the amount of power going to them that they will ever need for the intended use. The only reason that they would need that much more power would be as a weapon system, unless there's another reason that they would have that power there.
I would agree with you on that theory, because I mean I've seen some sketchy stuff that I'm like, why are you doing this? I mean, this doesn't even make sense. If you just want to transmit a little bit of data, so this town over here can get Facebook, why are you putting 9 sets of radios in one sector with another freaking MIMO, which is a whole different technology with more radiation? And it's kind of scary because all these systems we're installing now, but I'm pretty sure this is not turned on entirely yet.
So you climb up those really tall towers, like you know those drone videos we see the guys at the top of the towers, and it's crazy, right?
Yeah,
you go up that high.
The highest that I've been is 500.
That's pretty high. So
yeah,
do you have no? When you're up there, another service guy might go up there another time after you, right?
Yeah.
So can I send you some Flat Earth Podcast stickers to stick on the equipment up there, so the next time a guy goes up there, he can think about
absolutely. You will be amazed because there's a lot of climbers like low key that we are all flat earthers.
Oh, nice.
There's no way. Hey, there's no freaking way. It's like this is too much quackery, and then they just hide it in plain sight.
That's fantastic. All right, I'll send you some stickers. You stick them up on the towers. All right.
Absolutely, man.
Are you going to Las Vegas to Flattoberfest in October?
Man,
and now there's over 100 5G towers. Rolled out the 5G.
over the years.
The next question is, in 2020, Trump rolled, when COVID hit, Trump rolled out the 5G, across the nation
That's
plan.
true.
Right?
Trump signed the 5G and beyond bill. It's called 5G 2020 and beyond bill, I believe is exactly what it was called. It was like, I think 2019, maybe. Yeah, I think it must have been 2019 when I was trying to figure out how I felt about Trump. It was before I was a Christian. It was when I was still with my ex-female, whatever you call it. And, it's so easy to get caught up in Trump's personality, the character that she puts on. And, but I never fully trusted Trump. I just always had this feeling like, it's a politician and something just didn't seem right. And when I found out that she did the 5G and beyond 2020 bill, that made me realize, oh yeah, this person is just another puppet. It's like sleight of hand with a magician. They make you look at the left hand. Oh, Trump's playing 5D chess. Did you see the way he drank that water? That really meant that he was gonna drain the swamp. I remember there's videos like the way Trump drank the water really meant this, and people are like overanalyzing everything. It was crazy, when really behind closed doors, Trump's doing all this other stuff for our demise. And it blows my mind how so many people still don't see it. Anyway.
My town had 3 5G towers.
Oh, and also, besides that bill, learning about the transgender agenda and skeletal anatomy, and realizing Trump's children weren't what they seemed, and Trump wasn't what she seemed either. Trump does not have a penis. The so-called wife might. And seeing the signs of the abuse on the children, that made me realize, okay, this person is actually a monster. They're not just, maybe just a puppet who doesn't know better or whatever, but they're actually a monster. Anyway.
When COVID hit, Trump rolled out the 5G, across the nation plan. My town had 3 5G towers, and now there's over 100 5G towers.
I was part of that. It was a very, very big effort it was wild. Everyone was in lockdown, and then they gave me a paper basically stating that I was essential. So it was like, if someone, like the cops or someone stopped me, I can show proof that I'm working on this. But it was a very big push, especially T-Mobile. T-Mobile went ballistics over 2020. Like we built so many towers that it's ridiculous. It was a very big push. Now it's dead. Now we're waiting for more work, which is probably gonna come in 2024. But yeah, that 2020 push is totally real. That's not conspiracy theory stuff. That really happened. That really happened, and we were part of it.
How do you feel about that? What are you gonna do? I understand we all have to eat. What are you gonna do?
The thing is, I discovered flat Earth and all these stuff because I started watching Hitler's Hitler production videos, and when I saw the 5G, that's exactly what I said. I need to start moving away out of peace. But it's been so recent that I'm like, well, I need to repurpose myself in that sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, let's find something that meets your skill level, that isn't, unless of course you're rigging all of these systems to implode at the right time.
I think something's gonna happen at some point. I think if it's we're close to that. We're close to that if you pay attention, and like too much fuckery going around.
All right, so let's say they decide to turn it into a weapon system. What's the best way a normal person that knows nothing about this can disable a 5G tower?
Oh, you just go to the tower. It's basic principle. It's power and fiber.
So cut the
It's power and
cut the
data.
power. Just cut the power.
Yeah, cut the power.
Okay.
That's it. Don't start shooting the antennas over the
I
top.
was gonna ask you, can you
Go
shoot
to
it
the
with
bottom.
can you shoot it with a rifle?
You can, but you're not gonna do too much.
Okay.
If you go to the bottom, if you notice, there's little shelters like under the tower.
Yeah, they're pretty well.
That's where all the
fortified.
magic
They're
happens.
pretty well fortified. How do you get in?
Shit, I don't know.
Is there a universal key?
There's some that they don't even have a shelter. You know, they just have cabinets. I guess you burn the cabinet. That's what I. But honestly, that's where all the magic happens. Because, the antenna is just, it's a mechanical device that will amplify the signal. The radio itself is the one that is transmitting. The antenna is just amplifying.
Do you do hidden towers? Like we have a hotel right on in the middle of our town, and they have a giant tower, but it's hidden.
Yeah.
In a.
Yeah, I know. This are we do monopines, monopoles, monopalms, which I mean they don't look.
They are. Those are hard.
You're not fooling anyone. It's a shitty ass pine.
Oh.
And then
Do you?
steeples, church steeples. Those
Do,
are scary.
Yeah, church steeples. Are there towers that are out there that aren't listed on the map, or are they all listed on the map?
I'm not 100% sure, but there's rumors that they are a few towers that you don't access every tower. They'll give you like a spreadsheet with all the codes and all the coordinates, and if you gotta go to certain tower, you just scroll and you look for the coordinates and you go over there. So you don't visit every tower. This is way too many. But I heard over the years, these phantom towers that they're just basically spying on you. They don't belong to any carrier, and they're shady. I've been all over the desert, from Texas to Arizona, and I drove all that area. Dude, you see so many towers and so shady towers that you're like, that don't even belong to a carrier. Because once you work in this environment for a while, in this industry, you already know because of the radios and the brands. So like, for example, Samsung is gonna be Verizon, Nokia is gonna be T-Mobile. The equipment, the sellers are different. AT&T is gonna be Ericsson. So when you look, you know, okay, that's AT&T. That configuration is Verizon. So I passed a few towers already over the course of the year, and I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. Who is that? Who is that tower? What carries in that tower? What are they doing? Because you see so many shady shit. It's like, that's not Ericsson. That's not T-Mobile. Who is this? Who is this carrier? Why do you have so many antennas? What are you doing here? And it's scary, you know. I've seen some new stuff. I was told that it's for airplanes, for the Wi-Fi in the airplanes. And the antennas point to the sky, which that makes sense.
I got a question for you.
They're testing us.
You can answer this question. I have this theory. So we have, Elon Musk with his, satellites, and people are seeing the lines in the sky. And I believe that I haven't seen them personally, but I believe that people are seeing the lines in the sky. I believe that's just a trick, whether it's a bunch of little drones, whether I don't know what it is, but it's not satellites falling around the earth, right? Micro satellites, the size of a school desk, falling around the earth, following all of the motions. None of that makes any sense. But there's something up there. Okay.
Yeah.
So, hold on. Let me get to my question. I'm going to backtrack a little bit. In the 1980s, my father lived on a little island south of Puerto Rico, and we had one of those giant dishes, like 20 feet wide on his roof, and it actually moved, right? And it had 5 or so set spots where it would pull in 20 channels. And some of them were network feeds and, all sorts of stuff. I wish I recorded some of that, like the raw news network feed going back to New York, and then they would edit it. But they had all sorts of stuff on there. How does that work? Okay, and my thought was, supposedly it was going towards a geostationary satellite. Anyone that's a flat earther knows that's not possible on a globe. I think, and I heard, we had a NASA whistleblower that said that they can send a laser beam to the dome, and it electrifies that area, and it stays electrified for years. And then they could bounce a signal or something off of that. And then if you can bounce a signal off the dome, no matter where it's coming from, if you point your dish toward your dish towards that spot, you would get a signal, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah. So My theory is that there is no, because they call it ducting, or let me see, it's here. They say that ducting is basically going the signal going into the curvature of the Earth on the atmosphere, bouncing off the clouds and on the atmosphere. But they say the atmosphere is it's vapor and water, and I'm like, and then I was doing some digging. Vapor will actually absorb the signal. It's not gonna make it bounce. So I think there's an electromagnetic dome or something on top that is making it bounce
Let me
back.
ask a question. If you if you sent a signal at a wall or whatever, just had something to hit, something to bounce off of, that signal is going to hit there and it's going to bounce off in every direction, right? And that
Depending on the frequency.
yeah, well, yeah, but it's going to bounce off and it's going to spread out like light. It's just going to spread out.
Yes.
Now, to collect that, you have a giant dish. You point it right at that spot, and it's going to collect that information, condense it, and it's going to make it readable. I think that's how those big satellite dishes work. All right, back to my original question. So they say they're going to have internet, you know, that Starlink is going to offer worldwide internet in remote places. Haven't seen it yet, but is it possible that all of the airplanes in the sky are creating a mesh network? They're all they're just flying towers.
Yeah, you can they actually the airplanes have a receiver too. Have you seen all the lights on the runway?
Yeah.
You know that they start blinking and they change patterns. That's actually controlled by the airplane. I didn't know that. There's a array of antennas in the landing pad on the landing strip that will give the airplane information on how high it is, where's the ground, and then the pilot can actually control the lights on the ground. So he can control the patterns and have a safe landing if he wants to. So I don't I think
hold on. Back to my question. So you got planes everywhere over populated areas, of course. They're like cell towers, and could they transmit Wi-Fi to people on the ground?
Yeah, if they receive, you can transmit too.
All right, and so from 30,000.
It goes up and down all the time.
So you're on the ground, you're trying to get your internet, you're in the middle of the jungle, but there's an airplane over there, there's an airplane over there, there's an airplane over there, and you're all connecting. That's your mesh network of cell towers.
Yeah, that makes total sense.
So do you remember that Elon Musk said when the stupid Ukraine war started, he goes, we're going to turn off Starlink over Ukraine. Well, you know what they did? That they made Ukraine a no-fly zone. So now there's no airplanes over Ukraine. Therefore, there's no Starlink.
I just thought this was so interesting. I never thought about that. And it made me have some other epiphany, but I can't remember what it is now because I watched this days ago.
Well, you know what they did? That they made Ukraine a no-fly zone. So now there's no airplanes over Ukraine. Therefore, there's no Starlink.
Yeah. But the issue with that is, I believe they're doing it inside of balloons, at least Starlink.
Oh, I think
that's the only way.
I think a lot of it is balloons and then the balloons and the planes combined. I mean, they're just all connecting. It's just like a whole bunch of moving towers. Makes a lot more sense. It seems a lot easier than the impossibility of orbiting satellites.
Yeah, I mean, the orbiting satellites is just
Stupid.
This doesn't even make sense. Yeah, I questioned that since I was a kid, because but then it was confirmed by obviously being an adult and keep digging. It's like there's no propulsion, no. And then so many other things that don't even make sense. But the mesh networking over the airplanes and basically bouncing off the dome or whatever we have on top in the firmament, that's totally possible because they've been talking about that for years. They even say that ducting, like AM radios and transmitters, how is it possible for me in the United States to communicate with someone in Africa? They say it's because of the ducting and the refraction of the bouncing of the waves in the atmosphere. But I don't believe that's true. I believe it's because it's so flat that
That's just a straight line. A straight line, right?
Yeah, totally fun.
Fascinating.
And
Anything else?
Oh, that'll be it, man. I mean, if you need I can send you the link for the Google Alert FCC.
Send me the link to the
the
map
microwave.
and then that other video you said. Are you cool if I put this on BitChute?
Oh, that's fine. Yeah, for sure.
Send me those links. I'll put them in the description and let people figure it out from there.
Okay, I'll play the next one. Oh no, I don't think it was this. I don't know, so many of these are so good. It's already 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't want to get into like this 4-hour long, 4, 5, 6-hour long documentary. So, I remember. I'm gonna play something that I played on the last live stream because the last live stream was has been blocked worldwide. So since there are some different people here today that weren't here for the last live stream, and maybe this live stream won't be blocked worldwide, I guess I'll play it here now. It's a shame what they're doing to BitChute. Did you guys see that video I posted
Is that as a Mason, you are
like a year or two ago, maybe even more? BitChute, they were going through some kind of change, and they mentioned something about the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn or something like that, the Golden Dawn. And I can't remember if like they were partnering with them or if the Golden Dawn bought BitChute. But I was like, why the heck is BitChute mentioning the Golden Dawn, like officially on the website? I don't remember if it was like had to do with the terms of service or I don't know. But shortly after that, well, kind of shortly after, there was more censorship on BitChute. So I feel like one might have to do with the other. I don't know. Anyway, see if I can get this at a decent volume or not.
is that as a Mason, you are promised immortality. If you go to a Masonic funeral, you will hear them discuss the immortality issue. You will hear them promise that they will go to the celestial lodge above and live there forever. How do they get this immortality? They don't believe in Jesus. The name of Jesus is not allowed to be mentioned in the Blue Lodge of Freemasonry. And while there are probably many Masons in this nation that are either nominal or even professing Christians, that doesn't enter into this discussion because it's not mentioned in the funeral. Where do they get their promise of immortality? Simply, the secret that Crowley uncovered, probably through demonic intervention, is the secret that this immortality is conveyed through tantric sex magic. And the kind of sex magic that we're talking about here, unfortunately, is a sexual violation of a little child. Crowley taught that the way you could live forever was by vampirizing little children sexually. And he personally bragged of having slaughtered 150 male children in 1 year. This is why he was called the wickedest man in the world. And this, I apologize if this is so horrible, but Masons are doing this. Not all Masons, please understand me. Probably 1 in 100 knows about this. But this is a significant enough problem that I feel compelled to share it with you. In our ministry, with one accord, we have had to pray for literally hundreds of people who are the relatives of Masons, either children, grandchildren, nephews, nieces, whatever, and they have been sexually violated by their Masonic relatives, often in Masonic temples. This is why the Masons believe that they will live forever. They think every time they defile a little child, they steal some of that child's youth. And if you notice, children that are sexually abused do age more rapidly because their innocence has been stolen.
Oh, criminy. You know, this phone is so hard to type on. Sorry. Okay. Gotta put my glasses on. I can't see squat. Oh, my goodness. This world is a joke, man. What is it, Satine? You're sausage. Um. This one was good, I thought. Calling out Mr. Gavin. So I'm gonna play that. It might be too loud. Let me turn it down.
Listen, we're gonna get right into the heart of this thing. Black Conservative 24, thank you for this one. Guys, wait till you hear what this man had to say to the school board. So important. Listen.
This is beautiful. God bless this man. Just watch this. Let me know what you think about it.
There's no doubt in my mind that those who have transgender and gay family members, friends, and co-workers sincerely believe by affirming their lifestyle demonstrates love. Truth without love is a travesty, but love without truth is a lie.
Yeah.
Boys cannot be girls. Girls cannot be boys. Men do not get pregnant. An unborn child inside or outside the womb should be affected instead of being ripped limb by limb from their tiny bodies by Planned Deathhood and the Democrat Party. Now you're justifying the sexual perversion of young children. Governor Gavin Newsom, Pharaoh of California, wants to spend $1.6 million on textbooks in Temecula to facilitate the deviant sexual behavior of Harvey Milk. Why? Because children must learn gay pride. If Gavin Newsom cares so much about our children, when was the last time he changed one of our baby's diapers at 2 o'clock in the morning? Took one of our sick children to the local hospital? Took our children to local libraries to do story hour? Never. Because that's not the responsibility of the woke Pharaoh of California. Parental rights come from God, not men. Will Gavin Newsom spend $1.6 million on Judeo-Christian textbooks? An integral part of American history. Will he create safe spaces for Christian conservatives, students, teachers, administrators, principals that believe in two genders, male and female, and that all lives matter, including ex-transgenders and ex-gays? Of course not.
Yeah.
Because self-absorbed pathological liars like the Democratic Party are predominantly alethiophobia, haters of objective truth. For over 170 years, the Democratic Party has been a wicked organization, continually rejecting objective truth. Their systemically racist Jim Crow laws kept 4 million Negroes, 99.9% in slavery. Now the California Board of Education is grooming our children for pederasty and pedophilia, MAPS, or minor attracted perverts. For this reason, God has raised up Governor Gavin Newsom that through our newly elected Temecula School Board, God might show his power and proclaim his word in the world. Pride and arrogance is why I destroyed Pharaoh of Egypt and his army, and if necessary, I will destroy you and your woke army. Pharaoh, Gavin Newsom, I am the Almighty God. Let my people go and leave my kids alone, or you will reap the whirlwind of my wrath, because I always watch over my children. So let it be written, so let it be done.
Oh, my Lord. Oh, my goodness. I can see him smiling. I can see him smiling. He knows what he just did. He knows what he just did. Look at the Steve.
God bless him.
He's wearing a Trump hat. Did you see the Trump hat? Oh, my Lord. He dropped a bomb in the room. He did. So what is alethiophobia? I gotta go to my dictionary because this man is putting me to school for a minute here. Okay, so the word alethiophobia, it is spelled ELEUTEROPHOBIC. Okay, It means the fear of freedom. Huh. I know phobic had something to do with fear, but alethophobic. Oh, that's a new. Amen. Amen. I'm excited. This man he walked back with his Trump hat. I hope you picked up that, and he smiled. Yep, that says Trump. Leave our kids alone. Listen, I know. Let's politicize the thing. I was gonna say let's not politicize everything, but let's politicize the thing a little bit. Why is the Democratic Party so hell bent on transitioning children? Why are they like that? Like, what's there to gain? What's the fetish? What's the goal?
Matthew 11, verse 8. I don't want to get into all the political stuff because left and right is all an illusion. It's all crap. What's it? I know that there was something else I wanted to share. Lee Lewis sent me this brother, Richard Lorenzo Jr. I don't necessarily agree with every single thing he says, but I think he's really amazing, and I'm so thankful that he shared that with me. What else? I'm working on multiple videos and documentaries, so I have like endless playlists and stuff. This is my pedo studies playlist. Any videos on the pedophiles? I know that there was something else. Maybe I'm tripping. Maybe I'm tripping. I don't know. I guess I'll play one more thing and then I'm probably going to go to bed. What is it, Satine? Satine's distracting me. Are you a meanie weenie? Are you a meanie weenie?
It gets.
I didn't finish this one because I wanted to do this live, so I'll do this. This is crazy. And you know a lot of people are doing this crap. I don't think I'll need to do captions. Let me know if you guys prefer captions or not, and I'll turn it back on.
Adoption is a wonderful thing for so many children and parents in the world. Some children find homes with amazing parents to care for them, provide shelter, food, love, and cherish them the way that they should be cherished as a child. These children get the love that they deserve and that they may not have ever gotten in their entire life had they not been put up for adoption. And parents are blessed with children that they may not have been able to have outside of adoption. They have a child that they may have longed for years. Many adults dream of having children, but a lot of times women and men suffer from infertility or medical issues that have made them not be able to carry a child themselves. Another example is for same-sex couples that are not able to biologically reproduce on their own. Many same-sex couples turn to adoption to complete their family, but some children aren't so fortunate when it comes to their adoptive parents. William Zulock, who is 33 years old, and Zachary Zulock, who is 35 years old, met each other in 2013, and they got married about 4 years later on December 14th, 2017. They were so excited to start their family together to not only build on their marriage, but bring children into their lives and have a complete, happy, and loving home. So right after their wedding, they contacted an adoption agency. And just a little less than a year later, on November 7th, they were blessed with 2 little boys, 7 and 9-year-old brothers, and they adopted them through a Christian adoption agency called All God's Children, Inc. This agency focuses on special needs children in the foster system, and it's located in Watkinsville, Georgia. The boys were placed in foster care when they were 3 and 5 years old, after they were taken from their parents because they were addicted to very serious drugs. William works in a customer service center for a local government department, and Zachary works at a local bank as the branch coordinator. They both had great steady jobs and were going to give these 2 boys a life that they could only have dreamed of. William and Zachary also were very big activists for the LGBTQ community. They were said to be the darlings of the LGBTQ community in Georgia. They attended many parades, and they were even asked to have their pictures featured in a prominent publication called Out magazine. In 2020, the couple built their dream home for their new family on a 2-acre secluded cul-de-sac in a very prestigious upscale neighborhood where houses in that area on average sell for about $900,000. And they decorated this beautiful new home in rainbow color decor with a beautifully manicured landscape. I mean, it just felt like the picture perfect life, bringing in these 2 young boys and their family being complete. What could go wrong? Because nothing is what it seemed. Although these parents portrayed to be loving, doting parents, providing their boys with a happy and wealthy life through their social media posts, some things are not always what they seem. And in a string of events that nobody saw coming, their happy, loving household was about to truly go under the X-ray vision light and be blasted for what it truly was and the actual horror that was going on inside that home. Back in August of 2021, 27-year-old Hunter Clay Lawless was arrested after child investigators traced a large cache of photos relating to child material that's explicit back to his Gmail account. In a press release posted on Facebook, they said that they were tipped off after a GBI detective received information about someone who may have been downloading child materials. After an investigation and interview with the suspect, police found that there was a second suspect who was producing homemade child material with at least one adopted child who lived in the home with that same perpetrator who was uploading it, taking the imagery and uploading it. And Hunter had a lot to say about this after he got arrested and shed some light on where he had gotten some of the photos that were found on his computer and his phone. Whether he talked about it as part of a plea deal or not is unclear. However, Hunter told the police that he had met William and Zachary Zulock through one of his other friends known as Blake, and that he met Blake on Grindr. Now, for those of you who don't know, Grindr is a location-based dating app very similar to Tinder, where you swipe left or right on other people's profiles, depending on if you like their profile or not, if you're interested. And then if you get matched with each other, you can start messaging each other. Only Grindr, unlike Tinder, is made specifically for the LGBTQ community. So Hunter told police that after meeting William and Zachary, he started to receive numerous messages on Snapchat from Zachary, which these messages would allegedly say, "effing my son tonight," and telling him to be prepared to get photos and videos documenting the activities. After which Zachary did in fact send images and videos of himself sexually attacking his 11-year-old adopted son, the very son that he was telling everybody he had saved from the foster system. And guys, it gets so much worse. Hunter also told police that he never engaged in sexual contact with the Zulock's children, but he said that Zachary asked him to participate in these sexual acts multiple times, although, according to him, he refused. On July 27th, 2022, after finding the photo and video evidence on Hunter's phone and computers, and after more investigating, law enforcement officers raided the home of William and Zachary Zulock in Oxford, Georgia, and they raided their home in the middle of the night. Zachary was slammed to the ground by officers and taken into custody, and William was pulled out of his home and put in the back of the police car while he was still naked. Both William and Zachary were then arrested. Before their arrests, a search warrant was already issued, and law enforcement seized the Zulock's home, everything in it, and all of the cars that were on the property. The evidence that was collected from their home would paint a much larger picture of what these 2 boys went through after being adopted and the true house of horrors that was inflicted upon them.
Good evening, and very disturbing details indeed. The Walton County Sheriff's Office has said it was an investigation by the GBI that led them to the couple. According to authorities, the couple was making in their home. Zachary Zulock and his husband William Zulock are being charged for child sex crimes. The Walton County Sheriff's Office raided their home on St. Regis Way in Oxford and found that both men were engaging in sexual acts and videotaping it with their adopted sibling children. The two children were taken out of harm's way, police saying that material was being downloaded, which was discovered during a search warrant in unincorporated Loganville. Now, we did speak with neighbors in that community off camera. They did not want to speak on camera, but they do say it was very shocking to find out that was happening, and they said it was awful for their children.
A folder titled Us, found on Zachary's phone by law enforcement, allegedly contained videos of William participating in many sexual acts on one of their children. Other evidence collected by law enforcement and being used against both William and Zachary included 149 images, 2 flash drives containing both of their cell phone data, text messages from Hunter, a Snapchat message, 2 letters written by their 11-year-old son, and the same exam results that a nurse had conducted on the children after the arrests. They also collected clothing items from the boys' bedroom that matched clothing seen in the videos of the boys as these acts were taking place. And according to the indictment, the boys, ages 9 and 11 years old, were continuously sexually targeted and attacked by William and Zachary, who repeatedly RAPE'd both boys in their back cavity, performed oral acts on them, and made the boys perform oral acts on them as well. The indictment also alleges that on one occasion, the older boy was injured due to the back attack, if you're catching my drift and what I'm throwing down there. Now, if these boys were injured due to the...
Did I get copyrighted, or is it just buffering on my end? Okay, never mind.
Exactly.
Sorry. Thought something happened.
On one occasion, the older boy was injured due to the back attack, if you're catching my drift and what I'm throwing down there. Now, if these boys were injured due to these acts, were they ever taken to the hospital to get medical attention? The documents also state that all of this dates back with the children to at least 2019, meaning they were going through this for years. While being interviewed, William allegedly admitted to forcing their 11-year-old son to perform an oral act with the intent to satisfy his own sexual desire. And this is all according to the affidavit. And Zachary admitted to sending child material to several people, but said it was to less than a dozen people, as if, oh, okay, because it's less than a dozen people, that makes it better. It is just sick and disgusting.
That's what demon-possessed people do all the time. They always try to minimize things and belittle it. Like, my ex-boyfriend put his hands on me for the first time, and I was so upset. Rightfully so. And he's like, oh, well, I didn't leave a bruise or anything. It's not like I made you bleed or, you know, like, why do you have to belittle it? Why can't people just own up to it? Be like, yeah, I'm really sick. Something is seriously wrong with me. What the heck is the matter? Lock me up. Lock me up until I figure myself out. Like, anyway, I don't want to start ranting, you know me.
Material to several people, but said it was to less than a dozen people, as if, oh, okay, because it's less than a dozen people, that makes it better. It is just sick and disgusting. You're not only inflicting these horrific acts and documenting them and videoing them and forcing them, but then you're sending it off rapid fire to your crew that you're meeting on Grindr or to some of your friends to like gloat, to flex what you're doing, to involve them, which we're going to get to. It is disgusting. William and Zachary allegedly told the two boys that our business is our business and what happens in the home stays in our home. In addition to what was happening in the home, the boys were forced to stand in the corner for 8 hours straight as a form of punishment. They were only allowed to move if it was time to eat or if they had to use the bathroom. Someone also reportedly witnessed William slap their younger son in the face at one point. These poor boys were just assaulted in every way possible. And it is so sad. It reminds me of a very extreme version, not to discredit or diminish what the Turpin family went through, but a very sexual and extreme version of that, forcing them to stand in the corner for 8 hours. You only can eat or go to the bathroom. And then when you're not doing that, you're either standing in the corner or you're performing an act on me or I'm forcing it on you. It is truly appalling, unacceptable, and disgusting. So just before William and Zachary were arrested, Zachary had reached out to a woman that had actually helped them adopt these two boys. He asked what happened to all God's children, to which she replied that they had closed down. And he continued to say to her that he was looking to adopt a 2-year-old girl and asked if she had any recommendations on another adoption agency, since All God's Children's agency was closed. It's not known whether he contacted the other agencies that she recommended, but I am so glad that they did not have time to adopt another child. It is unbelievable. I couldn't even imagine what a new child brought into that family would endure at the hands of these sick people. Another affidavit states that Zachary filmed William performing acts on their children, as though that was their sexual release with each other. And even worse, if you can even believe that it gets worse, which it does, it was also revealed that the men allegedly sold their 2 sons to other men, and that they were involved in a large ped ring. Those men were later identified as Hunter Lawless and 25-year-old Luis Armando Vizquero Sanchez. The 2 men were both arrested on charges of soliciting an act of sales with a human with the Zulok's 11-year-old son, although it is unclear whether they actually ever met the boys or had any sexual interactions with them. Luis is also facing a long list of unrelated child sex crimes, including coercing a 13-year-old relative of his into sex. Now, Hunter was shockingly released on a $25,000 bond after his arrest, and now lives with his mother while he's awaiting his next court date, which just infuriates me because I feel like child predators seem to, more times than not, get offered these minute, tiny little bail amounts. How is $25,000 at all just when there is a massive predator like this on the loose? Other potential defendants are being investigated based on the phone evidence that shows pictures of the Zulok boys that were being sent to other unidentified men as well. But that's not all. It has now also come to light that Zachary was actually reported to the police back in 2011 for allegedly luring a 14-year-old boy into a residence before assaulting him. However, for an unknown reason, the case was not properly investigated by the detectives involved, and no charges were ever filed. Detectives now working for the department admit that the investigative efforts fell short. Those detectives that worked on the 2011 case have now all retired from their jobs. But now that the case is being re-examined in light of the recent arrests of William and Zachary, a statement was made regarding this case. And this statement said, the 2011 case was handled in a manner that is inconsistent with current investigative standards, but law enforcement officers in the Criminal Investigations Division at the time have since withdrawn. Current WCSO detectives are evaluating the case and looking for leads that may still bring charges. As with all cases, our detectives are diligent and passionate when it comes to prosecuting and will always seek justice for the victim. So I'm not sure if the case just didn't have enough evidence at the time to bring charges or if it was just mishandled altogether. But Zachary would have been 24 years old at the time of these allegations. And had that come to light, I'm guessing based on the system and hoping that things work the way they're supposed to work, they never would have been able to adopt these 2 boys. After their arrests, months of recorded jailhouse calls were reviewed, where William and Zachary talked about the extent of what they had inflicted on the 2 boys, which is just crazy to me because when you are incarcerated, you should know that all of your calls are being recorded. These calls were made to a relative of William and Zachary, who said that they would like to remain anonymous. Some parts of the recordings have been released, and we will listen to those now.
They come in blazing with AK-47s or whatever.
Oh, how many people was it?
10, 15, a lot. They were doing like a drug bust or something.
Yeah, you can tell in that mugshot that he has a big bruise on the left side of his face.
Yeah,
Looks
they slammed him against the floor in the foyer. He had bruises on his knees, his face. They slammed him on the floor. And I hate to say this, but I don't sleep in clothes, so they arrested me in my bed, naked, put me in a cruiser. I sat in the back of that cruiser from 11:30 to about 4 a.m. naked in the backseat of that cruiser while they searched our house for God knows what. They seized the house, everything inside of it, all of our cars on the property. I think they took our house because they think there was extra money coming in from somewhere. and we're like in our 30s, and we had this big giant house, and we didn't think we could afford it.
I mean, can I ask you, does this guy know you at all, or some random thing he's just trying to, you know, rat somebody? That, I mean, can I ask you that, or?
So last time he was here, I told him something, and I told you, last time he was here, I told him something, I wrote down something, gave it to him. It's something around those lines, but more.
Me and Max worked our butts off for everything we've had. And they called me out front again for fingerprints, and I saw the new charges that they're putting against, I'm assuming both of us. There's 17 charges.
I mean, are you worried about the boys? Of where they are, or?
I mean, yeah, but I definitely can't talk about that.
I don't want to say it, but brace yourself for the truth. Okay? Just don't give up on it. You talk to Zach, tell him I still love him.
I can't cry around other people.
In these calls, William claimed Zachary was guilty of being a pede before they even met, and Zachary claimed it was William who began actually targeting these children first, which I don't care who started it, but if your husband starts attacking your child sexually and you just go along with it like it's a normal thing to do and then continue to inflict the pain and the assault right alongside him instead of reporting him, then you are just as guilty, my friend. You are disgusting. It was your job to protect these children, not go along with it, not inflict it yourself, and certainly not video your husband, your creepy, disgusting, dirty husband doing these things and then like having sex with him and getting your kicks out of it. It is horrific. In one of these recorded calls, William tells the relative to brace yourself for the truth, saying, brace yourself for the truth, okay? Just don't give up on us. If you talk to Zach, tell him I still love him. Ugh. And in another one, Zachary says, I just need somebody who doesn't hate us. Fat chance, buddy. Fat chance. Because everybody should hate you. This relative asked Zachary if he was worried about the boys at all, and if he wondered where they even were. Zachary replied, I mean, yeah, but I definitely can't talk about that. But, I mean, yeah, and then I'm concerned about the house and everything, because, you know, nothing's being paid, obviously because I'm here. The longer that this goes on, the worse that all gets. The sooner we get out, the sooner I can manage our finances, because things are going to start piling up. We do have like subscription stuff that needs to be canceled, like Disney Plus, Amazon Video, all that needs to be canceled because it's auto hitting our credit card. Okay, guys, I'm imagining that you were infuriated at that statement and response, as I am. I get that maybe he can't talk about the boys because of the investigation, but to me, this response just shows that this man cares only about his home and his money, and that he actually does not care at all about these boys. He didn't say for 1 second that he cared about the boys because of their well-being. Who are they living with? Are they okay? I'm so sorry. I feel so bad. I'm remorseful. No, he's saying, oh, man, I gotta cancel my Netflix. I gotta cancel my Disney Plus because it's auto hitting my credit card and the bills are stacking up. I can't work. That's what he cares about in this moment, which is very indicative to me of his character and further proof to me, again, just my opinion, the only reason they even adopted these two boys was because they planned to have this all along. Their own private, secret little sex object, sex toy at their disposal whenever they wanted. It is so cruel and so disgusting. While being locked up, Zachary told his relative over the phone that he was fearful of his life because his cellmate threatened to beat him, and he also thinks his cellmate laced one of his drinks with his prescriptions for nightmares. He told the relative, I think somebody put something in my drink. There was a comment made to me last night. Someone tried to give me something, and when I didn't, the way he said it was like, you want another one? And I was like, another one? I never had another one before. It made my arm and everything go numb. I couldn't move my hands. My fingers were stuck. I can't have something like this happen again. He said that he experienced stroke-like symptoms after he drank this drink, which, again, no pity for you, buddy. Don't care if your cellmates are coming after you. Don't care if they're lacing your drinks. Like, that is literally going easy on you, in my opinion. Zachary wrote a message to his defense attorney, begging him to bond him out of jail, saying, it's not my fault I got drugged. I still need a stroke evaluation. Tell the DA that I want an ankle monitor and, if required, a low bond amount. Try everything possible to get us out. Once again, only thinking about yourselves here. And I'm sorry, but the system does not work like that. Ask him for a low bond amount. We need to get out of here. Beat it, guy. Beat it. William has had some complaints about his stay in jail as well. However, his doesn't include being threatened or drugged like Zachary. William's biggest complaint is about the food that he is served every day. Like, can you believe the entitlement and the audacity of these guys? William says he can't drink the milk he is given every day at breakfast because he is lactose intolerant. He also can't eat any of the other dairy products that are offered in the jail. He also complained about the soy patties and bologna and cheese sandwiches, so he refuses to eat them and says he doesn't even know a dog that would eat those bologna sandwiches. That's how low grade the meat is and how the jail is a joke. Okay, like, honestly, if it wasn't so sick and disgusting, it would be comical. Because you're in jail. Did you really think that you were going to be served some 5-star meals every day? Nobody, and nobody feels bad for you that the soy patties don't taste good. Oh my God, my bologna sandwich is so yucky, a dog wouldn't even eat it. Don't care. If it were me, I'd literally be feeding you dog food. If anything, I'd probably actually starve you. I'd probably actually starve you because you're evil. And I probably shouldn't say that, but guys, I'm saying it. So both William and Zachary are now facing a grand jury indictment after pleading not guilty to 17 charges, including felony sexual crimes of children, aggravated child attacks, felony sales of a minor, aggravated insertion of objects. I can't say the word on here. You probably get what I'm saying. It starts with an S. And even incestual charges. Now, these charges could carry 9 life sentences for each of them if they are found guilty. And I just want to say, regarding the incestual charges, that may, because these boys were adopted, I don't have proof of this. I'm going to do some digging. But that makes me believe that there was video evidence that they made these 2 children do things together, which makes me want to cry. It really does. It is heartbreaking and disgusting. So if they're found guilty, they face a long time, which I believe they will be, considering all of the evidence that was collected. The men were also charged with contacting the 2 other men through social media to perform acts of child assault on these kids in exchange for money. Zachary and William are being held in separate facilities while awaiting their next court appearance. Zachary is being held in maximum security in the Barrow County Detention Center, and William is being held at the Cozier County Jail. William and Zachary's defense attorney waived their right to a preliminary hearing to avoid the judge hearing any more details on the case. He has also filed a motion claiming that the charges don't specify the manner in which the defendants allegedly committed these various crimes. The DA has filed a motion to disqualify the defense's motion and move to serve the defendants at trial. The DA does intend to call William and Zachary to testify as witnesses in each other's separate trials if they are separated. The DA also requested that the judge sign off on orders granting limited immunity to William and Zachary to testify against each other at trial, which means that they will not be excused if they refuse to testify. They will be held in contempt of court if they both refuse. Both boys have been placed back into foster care, and I can only hope that they are placed into the arms of the most wonderful people that will care for them and love them the way that they deserve to be loved. This case has gotten under my skin, and it kind of blows my mind because not many people are reporting on it or talking about it. I think because there are so many triggers in it, and I would imagine it's probably going to get flagged. So again, we'll see if it makes its way up. But I feel as though it is so important to shed light on cases like these because it's these people who are taking advantage of the system to have their own plaything in their home and putting on this facade and this, outer appearance through social media and to all their friends that they're advocates, they're going to these parades, they're a loving family. Oh, we're just 2 men in a same-sex marriage who want our own family. We finally got our family, guys. Aren't you so happy for us? It's all fake. And I'm not saying everybody's like that, guys. Not at all, because I know.
And that's the problem. I wish this woman would realize that they're all like this. Okay? And for anyone who doesn't know my testimony, who might be new, I identified as transgender and bisexual, and I was that way for like 24 years. Basically, since birth. I mean, shortly after I was able to start talking, I was talking about how I was going to grow up and be a man and stuff. I fully expected to grow up and be a man and to be able to stand up and pee and stuff that a girl can't do. Okay? And so as someone who is an ex-transgender, I never got hormones, I never got surgery, thank God. Thank God I never did that, but I identified that way. As someone who's ex those things, I can tell you 100%, the LGBTQ community does not know what love is. And they're all like this. I'm not saying they're all, wedophiles, but they're all selfish, whether they know it or not. They don't know what true love is, and they're demon possessed. The only reason you identify as that is if you are coming into agreement with demonically induced delusions. That's it. And so I hope someday soon this woman will realize, oh yeah, the LGBTQ community, it's a mirage. It's not at all what it seems to be. There aren't some gay people who are in relationships and they have true love and it's legit. It's all farce. So anyway, just had to put that out there.
There are such good people out there who do adopt, but these kinds of cases stick with you. And it's important to shed light on them so that people can hopefully start identifying some of the red flags if they're close to these people and seeing them. And I don't know, I'm going to follow this one super closely because it's hit a nerve with me. It really has. So I'm going to keep you guys updated as they go into their next court hearing, as more information and discovery comes to light, as uncomfortable and as hard as that is going to be to hear. I will keep you updated. So if you want to follow along with this case, guys, make sure that you hit that subscribe button. Totally free to do so. It'll just help so that you'll see as those videos get posted with the updates. And as always, it is way faster.
And a guy called Mac TV is talking in the chat right now and talking about the Las Vegas shooting. And I just wanted to say at least 2 people knew about the shooting and warned others about the shooting beforehand. There was somebody who posted, I want to say it was on some online forum. Maybe Mac knows better than I do. I can't remember the details all that well because it's been several years, but someone on some online forum or something somewhere warned everybody that this was going to happen days prior. And then there was a woman that was actually at the location at the concert. She was in the crowd warning people. I think she had seen multiple shooters. I believe she said that there are people that have guns. And security kicked her out. So, I think they do a sloppy job on purpose. I feel like they feel like they have to kind of show us what's really going on so they can blame us for not noticing and be like, well, hey, you knew that this was fake. You knew that we were lying to you and you still went along with it. So it's not our fault. You know what I mean? I don't know, man. Anywho, let me see. I got some food in the oven. I got 25 minutes. See if there might be something. I want to play this video again, but that one is blocked worldwide. And I think playing that is what got the last live stream blocked. So, and there's no music. There's nothing copyrighted. I think it's just information Nazi2 doesn't want you to have. And all it's about is how music is teleported from hell, from demons, to these Luciferians, these celebrities. I can show you, maybe I can show you a sneak peek. I can show you a sneak peek of the documentary I'm going to be airing. I'll do the HD version. I want to show you my favorite part is the part about the rock and roll, man. That's my favorite part of the documentary. So maybe we can watch that. Hold on a second. I need to have multiple screens or something.
The full 10 hours are covered in a documentary called
They sold their souls for rock and roll. What you are about to hear is exactly what you can see the title. Thank you, Jesus. I'm so happy that it finally saved. I have so much trouble. You have no idea. Any video you see me post that's over an hour long, it's a miracle, okay? You expect from demons and more.
Santana stated, quote, "I know it sounds new age, but in my meditation, this entity, which is called Metatron, he said, we want to hook you back to the radio airwave frequency. We want to reach junior high schools, and university." Carlos Santana said that these spirits, which as we shall see in a little bit, were actually devils, had supernaturally brought different musicians to him and worked in the musical arena to bring them all together for this Landside album appropriately called Supernatural. Santana said, "I heard this entity wanted me to know I would be hooked up with the right writers, musicians, and producers for the purpose of reaching high school and college kids. So my inner instructions were clear." He said that Eric Clapton wanted to know if he could play on the album. He said, "All the people who played on the record said that they had heard my music before I called them, or that I appeared to them in dreams or something." Santana said they knew what was coming before they got the call. Santana admits that he is channeling music from the same spirit entities that used Jimi Hendrix, who himself claimed to be demon-possessed. He said, quote, "There's an invisible radio that Jimi Hendrix and Coltrane tuned into, and when you go there, you start channeling other music." Santana told Rolling Stone magazine, quote, "You meditate and you got the candles, you got the incense, and you've been chanting, and all of a sudden you hear this voice, write this down." Santana described receiving information from the spirit world like a human fax machine.
He sat me down and he told me that he had done his meditations and that he had spoken to his wife and that he had spoken with the angels, and they had come to him and they had told him that this is what he needs to do.
Santana's angels are really devils who are using Santana to communicate Satan's age-old lie that we are gods.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I want to get tapped into what he's doing.
And what you're going to see with regard to Jimi Hendrix is that not only did he admit to being demon-possessed, but he admitted that his music had just come out of him and that it affected other people because these demons were using his music. And Jimi Hendrix, even decades after he died, Rolling Stone put him on the front cover of one of their magazines and touted him as the greatest guitarist of all time. He's still regarded that way. And in VH1's countdown of best artists, he made the top 5. But what you're about to see is that Jimi Hendrix was really not Jimi Hendrix. The power of Jimi Hendrix was a demon spirit, or more than one demon spirit, using him and channeling music through him, even as we saw earlier with Carlos Santana, who spoke of channeling the same music that Jimi Hendrix does. Let's check out this clip and see what happened in the 60s in music. Jimi Hendrix, who claimed to be a voodoo child, stated, quote, "Things like witchcraft, which is a form of exploration and imagination, have been banned by the establishment and called evil. It's because people are frightened to find out the full power of the mind." The satanic powers Hendrix unleashed through his music, though, were absolutely destructive. Jimi Hendrix opened himself up to demonic beings who used him to initiate the hippie youth into the counterculture revolution. Alan Douglas, the executive curator of Hendrix's musical estate, admitted his spirit possession.
Now, one of the biggest things about Jimmy was what he believed, and he believed that he was possessed by some spirit, and I got to believe it myself, and that's what we had to deal with all the time. And he was very humble about discussing it with people because he didn't want people to feel like he was being pretentious and so on, but he really believed it, and he was wrestling with it constantly.
Jimi Hendrix's live-in girlfriend, Fame Pridgeon, also spoke of Hendrix's admission to being demon-possessed and related his demon possession to the reception of his music.
He used to always talk about some devil or something was in him, you know, and he didn't have any control over it. He didn't know what made him act the way he acted and what made him say the things he said and songs and different things like that just come out of him, you know. But at first I used to think it was a cop-out when he had really done me in, right? And he'd say, "I don't know what come over me, you know, I really can't understand it." And, you know, he used to just, you know, grab his hair or something, or pull his hand, or stand there or cry or something. Oh Lord, it was so sad when he would cry. Maybe he was the first man, or maybe the only man that I've ever seen cry, you know, but it just killed me when he cried because he felt like, it seems like to me he was so tormented and just torn apart, and like he really was obsessed, with something really evil, And he said, like you're from Georgia, he said I should know how, people drive demons out. He actually thought about, if we ever go, because I used to talk about my grandmother and all her weird stuff, and he used to talk about us going down there and having some root lady or somebody see if she could drive this demon out of him.
I relate so much with that. Not really now, but before I was a Christian, I'd say, is it raining outside? Huh. Anyway, I have ADHD. I get distracted so easily. Please forgive me. I'd say like 2 years leading up to me finding Jesus Christ was some of the hardest times of my life. Probably the hardest times. I don't know. I've been through so much in my life. It's kind of hard to choose, but like every day was the last day of my life. Every day I was trying to kill myself. I was either trying to jump off skyscrapers, or I was running into traffic, or I was stabbing myself, or slitting my wrists, or beating my head against walls or glass jars. And when she said he was grabbing his hair, it gave me flashbacks. I used to literally rip my hair out. I was so tormented, and I was an atheist. And the torment, it got so bad that I actually started to wonder, are demons real? Because and when I used to say, word for word, I used to say, it's like there's a bully inside of my head. And so many things that I was realizing, I was actually realizing they were demons, but I didn't fully realize it because I was spiritually blind. But after it got so bad, I started to look into it and be like, well, maybe demons are real. I mean, maybe they're just interdimensional beings and they evolved a different way, or maybe there is a God. I don't know. I mean, it's so bad, it was making me question everything because I was doing everything right. Everyone says, go get help, go get professional help. Well, I did that. And then some. I was going across the country getting professional help, and things only got worse. I was taking everyone's advice, and things only got worse, And I was like, there's just no way out. It's my fault. Something's got to give, and I relate with that so much. It's terrible, and it's a shame that he or she didn't find Jesus. I'm not sure if Jimi Hendrix is a male or not. I haven't looked into it. And I mean, when it comes to these celebrities, you never know what to think. I mean, look at the individual there between them. Good grief. Anyway, it's a shame that Jimmy did not find Jesus Christ and is probably burning in hell right now.
He used to talk about us going down there and having some root lady or somebody see if she could drive this demon out of him.
Oh, Julie, they're about to talk about that right now. What's his name? Howard? Something Howard? I don't know.
B.B. King said, quote, as a musician, Robert Johnson had it all.
Robert Johnson, I think that's it. I have my glasses off, I can't see.
I think he's the greatest folk blues guitar player that ever lived. He's a great singer, a great writer. You think he was getting a handle on playing the blues, and then to hear Johnson, whoa, there's a long way to go yet. It's still the most powerful cry that I think you can find in music of the human voice.
Blues master and Johnson's mentor, Son House, set up him before Johnson's transformation. He'd sit at our feet and played during the break, and such another racket you've never heard. Son House said he made the audiences mad with his racket. Son House went on to say of Johnson, before he made his alleged pact with Satan, that he was a talentless and even an irritating guitar player.
But he followed me and Willie around on Saturday night here with the dog. And every time we stopped for rest, he said, that little guitar over in the corner, so we go out to catch air, get the guitar and be trying to play it and be just noise in the people, And they go through come out. I said, why don't y'all, some of y'all go in there and meet that boy, get that thing down, they running us crazy. Finally, he left, he run off from his father and mother. And he went over in Arkansas. So he was gone about 6 to 8 months.
It was during this period of 6 to 8 months that it is said that he made his pact with Satan on the crossroads of Highway 49 and 61 in Clarksdale, Mississippi. It was at these crossroads where the legendary experiences of Johnson trading in his eternal soul for temporary fame was said to have taken place in Clarksdale, Mississippi.
Well, they say he sold himself to the devil. That's what they say.
I heard a lot of people say that he sold himself to the devil, went to the crossroads and all that.
After Johnson's alleged pact with Satan, everything changed as Johnson went from being the worst blues guitarist in a matter of months to the best. Some musicians who knew Johnson claimed that Johnson himself admitted that he sold his soul to Satan.
He said he done that with the crossroads.
Sunhouse said that when Johnson returned after 6 to 8 months, everything changed as Johnson was transformed almost before their very eyes.
He come back. When he come back, me and Willie Brown was playing out there, and he walked in. He said, can I hit it with the tune? I said, nah, don't come back with that, Robert. I said, you know that people don't want to hear that racket. He said, let them say what they want to say. I want you to see what I learned.
Sunhouse said when he finished, all of our mouths were standing open. They couldn't believe what they were hearing. Sunhouse declared emphatically, quote, he sold his soul to the devil to play like that.
Aleister Crowley wrote in the Book of the Law, I am the snake that giveth knowledge and delight and bright glory, and stir the hearts of men with drunkenness. To worship me, take wine and strange drugs. He also said, by practicing his magic, one could become a musical genius, obviously from demonic assistance. Apart from admitting that they are being possessed or receive music or channel music from spirits, many of them actually use esoteric, satanic symbols on their official album logos or other places. Aleister Crowley's Eye of Satan is the most commonly used symbol. Robert Plant, the lead singer of Led Zeppelin, stated several times that he still does not know what the song Stairway to Heaven is about, and said that it was channeled through him. The official Stairway to Heaven single has been sung in such a way that words spoken forwards form clear words played backwards. It was sung in the exact pitch and speed and pronunciation of certain words so that those words would form messages played backwards. For example, when Robert Plant sings Stairway to Heaven live, he pronounces the word paths, paths, but in the official single, he pronounces it pays, because pays backwards sounds like Zeth. The twisting of the words throughout the satanic sections in order to fit the backwards message is very obvious once you listen to it closely. This is probably the best evidence of demonic channeling in the history of recording, because nobody has even come close to reproduce this scale of words having two meanings, forwards and backwards, let alone then turn that song into the most popular song of all times. Another thing to add is that they specifically played low-volume instruments during the satanic parts so that you could hear it as good as possible played backwards. Not only that, even the percussion assisted in making the word yes, which sounds like say backwards, sounds like Satan. The demons that sang through Plant during his recording made sure that the satanic message backwards was as clear and precise as possible. Why? Likely for their own amusement to see how people would react, and secondly, to create conflicts between Led Zeppelin fans and Christians. They know that whatever does not convince someone only serves to make them more resistant. It's a clever psychological trick to feed people small pieces of evidence for something, but never enough so that it could be used as proof. Forward. Forward says, and your stairway lies on the whispering wind. Backwards it says, because I live with Satan. Listen carefully. The demons lift up, because this isn't Led Zeppelin, this is spiritism, and spirits working through Robert Plant. Backwards, they lift up the backwards path. It says, here's to my sweet Satan.
Did you hear that? Listen carefully. It says, I want to live it backwards, like the Zep, whose power is Satan. Did you hear that? Then it says, he will give you 666. Raise your hands if you heard that. Okay, it's quite obvious. It's quite clear.
I struggle with some of the lyrics from particular periods of time, and I don't know, the musicality and the construction of it is it's peerless. But maybe I didn't quite feel the same about the lyrics a little bit later on in life as I got a bit further down the road. So maybe I'm still trying to work out what I was talking about.
Maybe you were channeling.
Channeling is a good one. Yeah. Owen Glendower is, that's where it came from.
We've already seen that Page admitted, I've employed Crowley's system into my own day-to-day life, and that is the way big names are made these days. Crowley's system was to establish contact with demons, spirits. The biography Hammer the God states that Jimmy spent his days in his suite with his shades drawn and candles lit. He spent his days and nights wide awake, holding his guitar, waiting for something to come through. Robert Plant admitted that his reception of the song was automatic. In the occult, automatic writing takes place as a demon channels a message through the human medium. He must have written 3/4 of the lyrics on the spot, said Page. He didn't have to go away and think about them. Robert Plant admitted, Page had written the chords and played them for me. I was holding the paper and pencil, and for some reason I was in a very bad mood. Then all of a sudden I was writing out words. There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold and she's buying a stairway to heaven. I just sat there and looked at the words, and then I almost leapt out of my seat. Stairway to Heaven is actually laced with backwards satanic messages. We are talking about words that say one thing forward, and then when those same words are played backwards, there is yet another intelligible message. This satanic phenomenon goes far beyond the scope of human ingenuity and is demonically inspired. Bob Garcia of A&M Records stated, quote, it must be the devil, because nobody here knows how to do it. Here we see Robert Plant, while singing Stairway to Heaven, telling his fans that sometimes words have two meanings, as he signs with his hands that they are both forward and backwards.
There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, 'cause sometimes words have two meanings.
Former Satanist secret society member Roger Merneau said that demons love to see humans die, which explains why demons end up killing off many of their performers even during the peak of their careers. It is apparent that once somebody signs what Manly P. Hall calls contracts with spirits, the demons get the right to harm or kill those who sign the contract. For the rest of their lives, they have to be careful not to anger or upset the same demons that made them famous.
The rock group Led Zeppelin came crashing down after the sudden and unexpected death of their drummer, John Bonham. Zeppelin, who sang about having hellhounds on their trail, met with many bizarre tragedies before their ultimate demise. In 1975, both Robert Plant and his former wife, Maureen, were severely injured in an almost fatal car accident at Island of Rhodes. Rock journalist Derry Herman, in his book Rock and Roll Babylon, noted the strange course of events that had come to be known as the Zeppelin Curse, picking it up in 1976. He stated, quote, it is certainly true that Led Zeppelin as a group have had a peculiarly tragic record of untimely death and severe accidents associated with themselves and their entourage. In 1976, Zepp associate Keith Harwood died in mysterious circumstances. Keith Ralph, formerly of the Yardbirds, which formed the nucleus of Zepp, committed suicide, and the wife of Zepp's road manager, Richard Cole, also died. In 1977, Robert Plant's 5-year-old son, Garrett, died of a virus infection while the group was touring in America. He states that Philip Hale, a photographer, friend of Jimmy Page's, died at one of Page's homes after ingesting too much morphine, cocaine, and alcohol. And in 1980, at another of Page's houses, John Bonham met with his untimely end. Bonham, Led Zeppelin's drummer, like Jimi Hendrix and Bon Scott of AC/DC before him, choked to death on his own vomit. According to coroner's reports, he had consumed the equivalency of 40 measures of vodka. Many of the tragedies that had befallen Led Zeppelin were in fact self-inflicted. After doctors referred to the infection that took Robert Plant's son Carrick as being strange and very rare, Robert Plant later said, quote, "Why do these terrible things keep happening? What the blank is going on?"
Wonder why.
One disc jockey from Detroit believed that all these tragedies were a no-brainer and provided Plant with what he believed to be the obvious answer. He stated, quote, "If Jimmy Page would just lay off all that mystical occult stuff and stop unleashing all those evil forces." Jimmy Page sought to evade what was becoming known more and more as the Led Zeppelin curse by saying, quote, "A lot of negative things have occurred recently, but tragedies happen." The London Evening News ran a headline declaring Zeppelin's black magic mystery. The article reported, quote, "An unnamed source close to the group commented, quote, 'It sounds crazy, but Robert Plant and everyone around the band is convinced that Jimmy's dabbling in black magic is responsible in some way to Bonzo's death and for all those other tragedies. I think the 3 remaining members of Zeppelin are now a little afraid of what's going to happen next.'"
Now I'll show you some actual insider information because many people still have the wrong idea of what demons are. So what you're about to hear is Roger Marnou's experience with these spirits in the 1940s. Well, I'll stop it there. My other phone died, so I can't type to anybody. Hold on. Oh my goodness, let me turn the screen brightness up here. Got 11% battery on this thingamajig. Spiritual logic. I think it was unplug them. I think I've posted on Enter the Stars too. I've had a few people find me from what's it called? Dude from Mars or whatever that channel is. Hey, Ocean, stop licking yourself. People can hear you all around the world. No one wants to hear that. Maybe it was Joe from the previous day. I went on Joe, the Fullerton Informer. I think his name's Joe, right? I think that's who you're talking about. I went on there earlier today. Oh, now the phone's turning on, of course. Well, kiss my grits. No coincidence, these bands have ties to 3-letter government agencies as well. I don't know why the comments blink. It's hard to read them, they're blinking. David. Two. Yeah. So nice knowing you people. So nice knowing some awake folk. I keep feeling, all day I've been feeling like there's something I need to say. Or like I'm forgetting something. You know that feeling when you feel like you're forgetting something? And I feel like as soon as I get off the live stream, I'm going to be like, oh, I needed to tell you guys something. I don't know, maybe I'm just tired. My sleep has been weird. Lieutenant Informer. Yeah, I caught the last few minutes of his live stream where he was talking about Maui, I believe. He's a sweet fella. Anyway, I love you guys. I hope I can catch you guys on Saturday, my birthday, August 19th. We're going to do a special birthday live stream. That documentary that you just got a little sneak peek of, that should be airing. And, oh, let me see if it downloaded. Did it save yet? It's been, sorry, I forgot. I can't go on a different app. But yeah, the zoom on this is terrible. I don't know who designed the zoom on this. Give me a break. Anyway. Oh my gosh. It's not saved, so I don't know if it's going to be a lower resolution or not. But the documentary, one way or another, should be out August 19th, somewhere between probably 4 and 6 p.m. my time. So that's like after 2 p.m. Los Angeles time, I believe. And then I might do another live stream that night. I don't know. So yeah, I love you guys. Please pray for me. Pray that God brings me my husband this year, and that I can get pregnant and start my family, because time is short and I really would love to get married and get pregnant before the grid goes down, or before we're in a cashless society, or before steak costs $100 a pound. It's really nice to not have to be pregnant and barefoot out in the woods hunting down some wild cattle. Getting my meat in. I gotta have my meat, man, for my uterus, my uterosity. I love you guys. It was nice spending time with you. Let me read the comments real quick. Frank Zappa. 3 a.m. Have to go. Love you, Julie. It's nice spending time with you. Thank you for spending time with me. Thank you, Mac. God bless you. God bless you all. Have a good night. Thank you, Rains. I'm living day to day these days. I hope I'm able to see your 19th vid. Life has been crazy. I understand. Thank you. I live in Texas. I call it mini Australia. So I hate it here. It's so hot. And I've been praying that God brings me a husband that lives somewhere cold. I want to live somewhere cold. I'll save a fortune on my electricity bill, because the electricity bill, like $300, honey. I tell you, it was like 116 degrees like over a month ago. Yeah, and I was thinking, what am I going to do? I don't know. And when they finally cut the electricity, like they love to do because they're just wicked demons, how am I going to live? With the AC pumping 24/7, sometimes I can barely breathe. You know? It's like it's too hot to think, it's too hot to move. I'll just lay in bed naked with my arms and legs spread out, and I'm still like, and I'm just sweating up a storm. How am I going to be alive if the grid goes down? Huh? I got to get out of here, man. I got to get out of here. And what's his face? What was it, Vandal? Or he changed his name to Vixart or whatever it is. He was talking about moving to Mexico. Are you crazy? Sabes que I ain't. There's a little Spanish for you. Use a spray bottle with water on your birthday suit. Yeah, I do that sometimes. I'll spray alcohol on myself if I don't have my bottle of water nearby. I have like this bottle, but it's got like residue of some chemicals, and I don't want to spray myself and look like Freddy Krueger. Anyway, you guys know me. I could talk forever, and my food's gonna burn in the oven. I don't know how much time. I think I'm out of time. But the phone died, so I don't know what the timer says. Anyway, love you guys. Bye. Bye.